Good morning. Here I am, bright and early. I actually was up bright and early this morning. Um, as the title indicates, as I said yesterday, it's snowing pretty hard for 3 days. I didn't go out shopping, so we're working with whatever we got. I didn't plan anything out. We're going to a complete no plan day. Um, so that's gonna be fun. I got a few ingredients that I'm leaning into, so that'll kind of push us in a direction at least. But to start with, get rid of that. We don't need that anymore. And the gentleman. But to start with, we've got my kettle, and all these parts combine into my French press. You can get started by making a cup of coffee. I don't have a lot of coffee left either. Um, my angle is quite low here. I'm not going to tell you any great secrets about making a cup of coffee because I don't have any great secrets about making a cup of coffee. Oh, I wish the snow would stop. We've got enough snow. I feel like we have enough snow at this point. We're gonna we're gonna have a white Christmas because it's gonna get just bitterly cold. That one, so you can see my face up in the corner. Although we can blip that guy off. It's gonna be bitterly cold this coming week. Um, so I'm not super looking forward to that. Um, Definitely have to get out today and shovel snow again. Because if we let it sit and harden up, it'll be impossible to get rid of. Um, Loud kettle. Uh, how's the how's the sound on the kettle? You can definitely hear it. Um, Anyways, uh, getting myself started with a cup of coffee. I have a few bits and pieces that I'm going to focus on, but I kind of just want a nice, cozy, filling, breakfasty thing. Fortify myself to go out into the frozen wilds. Use some of these vegetables that I got in the other room. Oh, we should use this breadfruit. It's starting to go a little bit. Breadfruit. Okay. I was gonna reach for the potatoes, but since the breadfruit looks like it's starting to go off a little bit, I'm gonna use that since I don't want it to go off and have it be a waste of money. Standing back a little bit because of the noise from the kettle. I want to mitigate. It sounds loud. I'm not actually sure if it's loud. No one's here to tell me if it's. problematic. We're doing some research. Pancakes. Or hash. Ulu hash. Interesting. I have all these ingredients. I could make this. Um, oh, interesting. Oh, they're literal pancakes. Mmm. Okay. Interesting. And it's got baking powder. Oh, that's going to be interesting to see if it actually rises. Ooh, okay. We're gonna try that. Coffee's ready. Well, boiling water's ready. I've got a little French press. This is how I make my coffee in the morning. And then we can set the hot water aside. Hmm. Okay. Um, by the sound of it, of my own musing to myself, we're gonna go with pancakes. But we're gonna try making breadfruit pancakes following this recipe on. Oh, it's on all recipes. Hooray! I have all of these ingredients. What interests me is that this has baking powder in it. I'm not sure that breadfruit has the structure to rise like a pancake, but I guess I will find out. I guess I'll find out. Um, that'll be interesting. That'll be interesting. Um, we also have a. I've had this for a little bit, but they keep because it was nicely cured, smoked, and it was only oop, just under $3 for a oop. Oh, even just taking the paper off, it smells so good. This is a pork chop end, a little bit of bone right there, um, from Newski's Smoked Meats in central Wisconsin, in Wittenberg. Um, they smoke a whole row of them, and then they slice them up. And of course, there's an end on either end, and the ends look kind of gnarly like this, but they've got a lot more of this brown crust surface than the middles do. So you want that rich smoky flavor. The ends are where it's at. And I think we'll use that instead of bacon. It's fully cooked, so I don't need to cook it. I just need to warm it. But I think we'll use that instead of bacon. Bacon, eggs, pancakes. That sounds like a pretty hearty breakfast already. What else could we throw in there? We might end up with a little bit of a shorter day because I didn't have any plans. I don't have, it would take too long to make syrups, and I don't have any fruit. There's chat. I'm sorry, I'm sitting here talking to myself. Welcome in. Hey, Zach. Zackingston. I'm doing good. It's been snowing for 3 days, so I'm kind of holed up. Which is why I'm rummaging and using up things I've got going on. I suppose I'm technically just chatting right now, but I'm about to jump in on food. We're currently making my coffee. I'll get that out of the way before I dive in on everything else. Birds of Paradise mug. Yeah, that's how I feel about the snow. Snow. So I think I've settled on a basic menu of breadfruit pancakes, smoked pork chop, bacon, eggs, and I don't really have a lot else. I'm gonna have to go out. I was hoping the snow would stop, and I'll have to go out and restock on a few things. But that sounds like a pretty hearty breakfast to me. And we got an experimental thing in there as well, in the form of the breadfruit pancakes that I'm not sure even how that's going to work. But I guess we'll find out. Let's start getting out ingredient. They want specifically coconut oil. My coconut oil is very hard because it's been so cold. So that's going to be fun to get out of there. There's also eggs in the pancakes because they're pancakes. So let's press my coffee. And then I guess get started. This will be a good test for the new microphone too, because I'm going to have to get out the blender today, and we'll see if it's deafeningly loud or if it's tolerable. That cup's a little bit too big for that coffee, but it's fine. Now, I don't like my coffee blistering hot, so I'm not going to drink it immediately. I'll let it cool off just a smidge. I'll get out a board. I'll bring over the breadfruit, and I'll show you why I abruptly decided that I'm going to use it today. So, it's been sitting there. It looks pretty much the same on this side as it always has. Flip it around, getting a little bit of fuzz on that side. So we're gonna take care of that. This one's a little bit riper than the previous ones I've used as well, so we will get to discover the interior. Sharpen up our knife. Okay, get into this guy and see if there's any gnarliness on the inside. Ooh, Yep, a little bit around the top. I think this one's, yeah, it's getting softer from being a little overripe. Yeah. We're going to start by quartering it. And then I'm going to get that core out of there. The core is hard, even when the rest of the thing is starting to go soft. So I'm going to say that the core is never good eats. For those of you with the fear of tiny holes, there's tiny holes in the middle of the breadfruit. Watch out. Forget what that fear is called. Fear of many tiny holes. And then we got to get the skin off, which this is softened up. I might be able to just pull it away. No, it still wants to break. This weirdly scaly sort of alligator skin that this stuff has makes it kind of hard to peel. It's the one complaint I have. Because the little scales try to break apart rather than come off in one piece. There's probably a trick to this. There's probably some secret method for peeling them that I should do some research. I've just been diving in on these things like a fool, but like a adventure. I've been told from some of them, I have been reading some about these. I've been told that when it gets quite ripe, and this one is quite ripe in that it's going soft, that you can eat it straight and it becomes sweeter. Yeah. Oh, it's extremely mild. Um, hmm. It's faintly fruity, which the cooked version never is. It's almost like a very mild, I want to say it's like a very mild papaya or maybe a faint pineapple. It's interesting. Huh. That's the one. Fear of tiny holes. Uh, but this slightly ripe, overripe fruit definitely has a different character to it than the what I had before. Still gonna cook it. We're not just gonna chow down, but by that little nibble I had, if you get these guys to actually ripen up until they are soft, you can eat them straight, which I suppose makes sense. The fruit ultimately wants to be eaten so that its seeds can propagate. So having a fruit that's just inedible is not great. Uh, ooh, it did go a little bit more than skin deep right there. We'll have to cut that part away. I did notice when I picked this one up after I checked out with it that it had a little break in the skin, and I'm sure that's where this came from. Okay, there we go. I was about to rinse my hand off and then come back over here and touch this again, and I stopped myself because that's foolish because I'm going to immediately touch it again. We're going to do a coarse chop. Some of these chunks can just kind of break off because this thing is very ripe. So that makes me think that this is somewhat, and it's related to jackfruit somewhere along the way. But it also makes me feel like it's similar in that you can eat it raw or green, or there's little seeds in this guy. I'm gonna take a little bit of layer out of there because I don't want those seeds in my finished product. Because jackfruit, you can eat green jackfruit. That's what they make all those meat substitute things out of. But if you let it fully ripen up, it's got these sweet, fruity little nuggets inside of it. And this is somewhat similar because it was edible when it was fully firm. It was edible when cooked. But this one, because it's starting to soften up, the soft parts are quite palatable, even raw. Quite a bit here. Dropping it all over the place. That's quite a bit here, actually. These fruits are, they ain't no joke. Quite substantial. I wish these things grew closer to where I live so that I could have them more readily. Okay, breadfruit. The recipe I'm looking at, unfortunately, does not say how much I need. It just says one small ripe ulu, which is breadfruit, ulu. But I don't know what, this one was pretty small compared to the other ones I've seen. I hope that means it's the right size. I guess we'll find out. But let's assemble our other ingredients. We need I'm a little less talkative today. I had a little bit of a rough night. I just didn't sleep. Nothing happened. I just didn't sleep very much. 2 egg. Probably should get the larger bowl for the 2 egg. Baking powder. We're not going to forget the baking powder. I've done that many a time before. Forgot to add leavening to something. Like, why is this not working? Well, duh. Okay. Teaspoon of baking powder. A teaspoon of cinnamon. Damn, that's a lot of cinnamon. That's a lot of cinnamon. I'll do it, but be aware that I think this is a lot of cinnamon. That teaspoon's a little bit too big, so I'm going to go with I guess we're making cinnamon. Oh, I spilled some. Cinnamon pancakes. I should change the title. Now that I know what I'm fully doing here. And I am following recipe. As I said, I'm following recipe from All Recipes. They have all the recipes. I find that recipes on All Recipes are frequently not well written, and that's likely because they're all user submitted. And like me, people have a hard time writing recipes. It takes a surprising amount of focus. Or not focus. I do it wrong. Wow, a lot of stuff in here. I suppose this is the quantities you need to balance out that amount of bready fruits. Get the cinnamon out of there. Although they're going to recombine anyway, so whatever. Half teaspoon of vanilla extract. Oh, Felix, you're first. Welcome in. Nutmeg. Now, of course, recipes always expect you to just have ground nutmeg, and I exclusively have whole nutmeg. So back to the nutmeg mines I go to mine a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. And I'm going to undershoot that because I know for a fact that freshly grated nutmeg is stronger than the pre-ground stuff. Which is why I keep fresh nutmeg. That much. Oh, strong nutmeg flavor. I could have done this with the cinnamon too, actually. I've got fresh cinnamon or whole cinnamon I could have ground up myself. Oh, it's way in the back. I don't feel like digging it out. I'm lazy. Coconut oil, which does not go in the blend because it's for cooking on the stovetop. Okay. Okay. Move some stuff around. We're going to dig out the blender. We're going to move this board. Brace yourselves. This could be very loud on the new microphone. I haven't tested the blender. I should have tested the blender. Something fell down in there. Something fell in my cupboard. It was a water bottle. Oh, and the one remaining ingredient is just straight up liquid, and I'm going to use it by putting it directly into the blender. And it's milk, which I have handy. 1/3 of a cup of milk. Because this rest of this wouldn't really work. The blender. There we go. So we're starting with our 1/3 cup of milk. My coffee has cooled to the ideal drinking temperature of warm, as opposed to boiling hot. Coffee. Coffee. Okay. Next, I want to put the eggs in. Oh my God. Okay. I'm going to do the eggs in a bowl because I'm afraid I'm going to drop shells in there. Because that egg didn't want to crack. Okay. Egg. Sans shell. Egg 2. Come on. Get the heck open. My eggs are too fresh. Shoot. Well, I hope there's no shell in there. Considering how strong the membrane was, I don't think I lost any shell, but there's no way to know now. Hilarious. Extra calcium in my diet. Throw in our vanilla. Throw in our dry spices that just float because cinnamon is very hydrophobic. Which is why the cinnamon challenge was such a terrible, terrible idea. Because your saliva won't moisten it up. It'll just suffocate you. Don't do the cinnamon challenge, kids. It'll kill you. Baking powder. And I don't want to splash this too much. 1 small breadfruit, cut into chunks. Blend until smooth. Make loud noise until smooth. I guess we'll find out. Open that thingy so you can see in there. But if it comes flying out, I'm going to put that thingy back on. There we go. Is that super loud? How super loud is it? On a scale of 1 to super loud. I gotta push the stuff down. I got a 4, a 5, and a 3. Put it on low. It keeps seeming like it wants to ride up. I do have a relatively cheapo blender, so that's definitely part of it. Yeah, it's creating itself an air pocket at the bottom, which is not ideal. It's becoming hard to blend. Yeah, see? I can hear it as soon as it loses traction with the stuff. I can hear it. It just changes. I need a I need a better blender. I'm worried that this might end up being too thick because it is a lot of very starchy stuff. If this doesn't work out super well, I have a backup because I've got the stick blender. And the stick blender will definitely not... I don't want to add more liquid because I'm trying to follow a recipe. I understand adding more liquid, but then I'm going to end up with soup. I don't want to end up with soup. This is supposed to be a pancake batter. Where's my stick blender? Because I don't think it's super... Well, it is actually pretty thick. We could add a splash of milk to it before I go to the stick blender. See if we can't lubricate it a little bit. But I gotta be careful because, again, I don't want it just to be soup. Someday I'll be able to get one of those big fancy Vitamix blenders that can flash blend a buffalo in 3 seconds or whatever. I had this blender for ages. This is a... Well, it got further before it needed a tamping down. So we're getting there. Yeah, but I wanted to get it to that point where it develops a vortex, and then it, I don't even think I need that part on there right now. I need to get it to the point where it develops a vortex. But it doesn't do that. It just kind of rides up on itself. Gonna add more liquid. I wonder if my breadfruit was slightly... I thought I wouldn't feel... Yeah. It's trying. Oh, it's trying. It smells funny. I wonder if the motor... This is an old blender. I'm wondering if the motor might be going on it. Well, all the big chunks are gone. So... Come on. Come on. Wow, this thing is... I hope people are sticking with this absurdity and loud grinding noises, because I certainly wouldn't. Well, I did say I wanted to do an experiment. We're most of the way there, and I think that this blender is just not fit for the job. And that's the issue I'm having. So, since the stick blender is already handy, we're going to move this. It also might just need more liquid still, because it's like kind of holds its shape, and I think that's part of the problem. Because by the look of these finished pancakes, and even the direction says pour. I can't pour this. Hold on. Before I start scooping everything out. I think this just needs more liquid. We've already more than doubled the amount. Oh shoot! Already more than doubled the amount of milk that it said I was going to have in there. But I've had pancakes. I've made pancakes. They're not supposed to be this thick. It's going ham on it. Okay. Not the smoothest thing in the world, but hey, the blender caught it and actually pulled a vortex. I've probably tripled the amount of milk that the original recipe called for, so I don't know what they were thinking. It's still a little thick and chunky, but it looks like I'll be able to actually pour it. And I'm wondering if I actually wanted it to be even a little bit thinner than that. Because there's a picture of the finished product here, and they look a lot like Hank. For one thing, I think their breadfruit might have been a little bit even riper than the one I had. And that's part of the problem. Mine's probably a little bit firm. Okay, well, close enough. I'm going to call that close enough rather than fight with it and get more things dirty. Put the milk away. We'll test one, and if it's a complete disaster, I don't know, cry in a corner. I want to get it out of there before I do anything with it, though, because I don't want to have to fight with the blade at the bottom. How much is in there? 3 cups. I wasn't going to pour it directly out of the thing. I was going to use a ladle. See, it still seems too thick to me. So I guess we'll test one. But I almost feel like it needs even more liquid. Because it's going to kind of come out as a blob rather than a batter. Well, let's head over to the stove side. Get that guy there. And get out some coconut oil. As you can see, it's not even like leveling itself out. It's I'm not enthused with this recipe. Let's see if there's comments. Everyone says they're great. I don't know what the heck is going on. Let's see if we can get this coconut oil out of the jar without making a fool of myself. Oh no, I made a fool of myself. This is why I don't use coconut oil. It's always too waxy. Okay. Also, my blender, I didn't want to go any further because my blender is making a smell like one of its belts might be slipping. This 10-year-old blender might be time for retirement. Try to get after all that work, let's try to get everything out of there. Oh, no, blender, you're gonna destroy my shit. Blender, no. Don't do it. It's caught the tip of my spatula on one of the blades, and it's gonna, if I pull it, it's just gonna tear the silicone. Shit. Okay, we're using wood. Good, strong wood. Rinse my hand off. Okay, well, we're having an adventure. Yeah, I'm a little worried about the blender. It's not hot, but it's got that smell to it. So don't really want to push it any further. And like I said, it's an old blender, so good chance it's just had its time. I don't use it often, but when I do use it, it gets a lot of work. Because I usually use it to blend something that I just, oh my God, 6 months. That's because you subscribed on my very first day of being an affiliate. Welcome in. You just missed me fighting with the blender, trying to blend this delicious looking gloop, which is still not really pancake consistency. Now the first pancake's always comes out weird. I don't want to make these too big either because they do need to cook through still. As much as I had to use, or thought I had to use up that fruit because it was softening up. Oh, I forgot. Thank you for the resub. Very exciting. I just rambled on. I'm terrible at this. Very exciting. Although my breadfruit was definitely starting to ripen up, significant parts of it were also still pretty firm. I think that when this recipe calls for a ripe breadfruit, it expects one that is soft all the way through. And mine was certainly not that. It was soft in places. So that is probably going to be a big factor. But since mine was developing some mildew on the surface, I wanted to get it done. The part that I tasted, the ripe, overripe part that I tasted, was actually quite tasty, just raw. So yes, This certainly is going to be an adventure. We'll see what the heck happens. I'm going to use the small scoop and just go blep and see it stands up. And I don't want that. That's not what a pancake is supposed to do. These are definitely thicker than pancake batter. The first pancake always comes out weird, but I feel like these are going to be more like fritters than pancakes. Oh no, I spilled my coffee. I also don't think it's going to bubble through like pancakes do. So I don't know when the right time to flip it is. Maybe we'll get lucky and it'll actually bubble, but I'm not hopeful considering its extreme thickness. Put the motor of my blender away. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna probably take a peek at it at some point. Get a plate ready to catch them. Smells good. I have to lean in a little bit because there's a lingering smell of hot plastic in the room from the blender, but this thing smells pretty good. Honestly, it doesn't remind me a lot of a pancake, but it smells great. So whatever it turns into, it'll be tasty. We're gonna do it. This is gonna be my tester, but I think the next one could even be a little bit bigger than that. And then I can try to press it down with the spatula. I'm worried that it'll just stick to my spatula because it's pretty sticky stuff. Um, I'm gonna put a question mark in my title. Question mark? Because I think we've diverged from pancake realm, the realm of pancake. How you doing? Well, it skates around as a single object, so it has low structural integrity. I think that since I was working with a fruit that was not fully ripe all the way through, actually, it looks like a pancake on that side, kinda, except for the fact that it kind of fell apart. I think if I had boiled, if I'd boiled it, um, or at least parboiled it first to soften it up, and then gone and blended it, that would have worked. Um, Like a potato pancake? I guess in my head, potato pancake does not equate to this, so maybe I'm thinking of a different thing. Kinda, I guess. But you know, the first one's always weird. It holds. It's like sticking together. And it's not sticking to me, or my spatula. Yeah, okay. I expected it to have less overall integrity than flour-based pancakes, just because there's no gluten. That's the big difference here, is that there's just no gluten. The only thing holding this together is starch, and actually a smidgen of latex. I don't know if it's like actual latex, but there's a plant protein in the fruit that acts a lot like latex. It gives it that kind of plasticky texture. I was reading about it. The the variety I've got does not have the juice, but in my readings, you're supposed to cut the end off of a breadfruit and let the latex juice drip out. Um, let's get over to our countertop. I'm gonna give this guy a tester. First of all, he's pretty soft. It looks okay, but it's pretty soft. But I'm going to taste test for doneness because I do want to make sure it's cooked to the middle. So we're actually going to cut a chunk right out of the middle and do a taster right here live before I even get to the end. It's hot. Doesn't taste raw. Doesn't taste like raw fruit. It's got that breadiness to it. Actually tastes more like a pancake than the stuff normally tastes like bread. The cinnamon is surprisingly not coming through terribly strongly. It's really it's a really good balance, actually. Let's try another one. It's also not sticking to my spatula like I thought it was going to, so that's good. It means I can... It sticks a little bit, but doesn't stick a ton, so it means I can flatten it out. Oh, you couldn't even see that one. It sticks a little bit to the spatula, but not a ton, so I can flatten it out. I already threw another one in there. Forgot to flip the camera. You could have seen it too, but I turned off the little corner camera on the countertop side because I didn't have anything going on over there. Okay, so it's not a disaster. They're definitely edible. It's got some texture to it. I think the intent here is to use a breadfruit that has gone fully soft, like I said, because then it would blend more easily. You wouldn't have as much liquid. You wouldn't have any little fibers in the end like this that give it that texture. and maybe some of that fruitiness that I noticed when I nibbled on the super ripe part would come through, because it had that faint, sweet, tropical fruitiness to it that the firm breadfruit definitely does not have any of that in it, any of that flavor in it. Tell you one problem though is, since it's not running out on its own and I have to kind of squish it down, it doesn't squish out level. This part here is already drying out on the top. This part is still super wet. See if I can't. Kind of flaps over there too, which is a little bit weird. By the looks of it, it'll let go on its own when once the bottom side is cooked. I'm gonna have a lot of this stuff. Tell you what, boy. Okay. Let's neaten up a few things while I'm standing here. Okay. I also might say nuts to the coconut oil. It's so hard to use it in the middle of winter when it's all hardened up. I mean, I think it's hard to use it in the summer when it's also kind of stiff, but especially in the winter when it's all just like a block of wax. Okay, they're holding together. They flip. They get all brown on one side. This is workable. But the pan needs a little bit more oil. It's definitely soaking up some of the oil. So we're going to go for our old standby butter. Buttery. Neaten things up a little bit. Okay. Exciting. Exciting adventures in the kitchen, as always. I wish these cooked a little bit faster. Pancakes are supposed to be like real snappy things, and these take a little bit longer. Probably because I made the batter wrong. They're also not really rising at all. The baking powder isn't doing diddly. I'm still nibbling on this one that came out first, because I haven't had breakfast yet. This is my breakfast. Maybe it needs to be hotter, slightly. They taste good. They definitely still tastes good. The flavor actually reminds me a ton of just standard pancakes. And once they're cooked, they have structural integrity. You know what they need, and I don't have any, is like a spray. See if I can't get this to. Okay. So you can kind of get it to level out just by shaking the pan. It's just on the edge of being soft enough to spread itself out. So I don't need to press it with the spatula. So that's good to know. We will have to return, once again, I'll have to go out looking for breadfruit and return with another one and do more tests and experiments because this hasn't quite worked, but it's so almost worked that I really want to make it work. Finish off my coffee before it goes completely cold. Okay. That'll give us, since this is working, and they do take a little bit for each one to cook, that gives us some time to think about the rest of my breakfast plate. Move stuff out of the way here. Bring my board back.